I'll be running this training today. We're going to talk about closing. And Kristen is here. Kristen is on your team. She is in Angela's. Oh, hey, Angela, there you are. There's your face. So she's with me. So she'll be muting and unmuting and managing the chat and such and recording this thing. So before we get started, Angela, did you want to say anything to your team, or you want me just to go?
Just go. I'm just thrilled for those who took the time to jump on live. So I appreciate all of you for that. So do your thing. I'm excited.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do some legit closing training. So we'll start off by chatting through some of your struggles with closing, or even just the word. When I say that word, who cringes a little bit? And the rest of you are lying? Okay, fair. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that and what closing means, at least the way I look at it. I will share with you a little bit about my background. I'm so thankful and humbled with Angela's promotion. I listened to the last couple, but I do want to let you know where I come from, because I think that's really relevant for this conversation. And then we'll just dig in. I have 5 huge tips for you on closing, and just to my notes say how to make closing an enjoyable process for your customer, because that's who it's all about. It's about your customer, and if our customers are happy, then our team is happy, and then we're happy, right? And that's kind of what we all got in this business for. So yeah, I'm excited. The content I have, depending on the questions and stuff, yeah, I really want to help you. So it usually takes about an hour. I'm just going to level with you guys. And then Angela and I put together a private group coaching program for you guys. And so we'll go over that as well, if that's something that you want to join. Does that sound good, everyone? Cool. So yeah, take lots of notes. So let's start. Let's just open it up. What is hard about closing? We'll specifically talk about kit sales. So what's hard about kit sales? Let me hear it. And this is not the time to be positive. I just want to hear it all. Safe place.
I think for me, one of the things that I need to get past, and Angela, you kind of helped me with this a little bit, but kind of like when you know somebody's financial, like, I don't want to say you know their financial situation, but you also know that like they may not have that extra money, or, you know, you feel like that maybe just even those 1 or 2 oils are going to be a stretch for them. I think that's probably one of my biggest things that I struggle with a little bit. I have been surprised, you know, definitely when I kind of don't pay attention to that, when I do throw out the kit options and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Wasn't expecting that. But I think for me, I think that's one of the things that I have a hard time kind of getting past. It's kind of my own perception of what they can afford. But I know that Angela, you kind of have, I think it was you, it was like, how dare you tell them, you know, what it is that they can and can't afford. And so I'm trying to work through that. But I think that might be one of the big things for me when it comes to closing the kits. And then I tend to, as opposed to, you know, maybe starting with the home essentials kit, starting with the family essentials kit, because I think that that's where they would be more comfortable. So. Sure.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to do, I'm not big into like mindset training. I'm a technical trainer. Okay. So I think I have some technical things that will just relieve that burden for you. Because ultimately you want to be kind, right?
Right. Absolutely.
I am all for kind. And so I have some stuff for you that will help.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you for being honest with that. Who else feels that? No? Okay, cool. What else? What else is hard about closing? No heebie-jeebies when I say that word? Come on.
Hi. Sometimes I feel that when I get to the closing and I go through the kits, which I've actually been going through more than just 2, which I will stop doing. But I feel that when I get the blank stare or the, looking down and ignoring, not making eye contact, that maybe what I've just presented in the class has not been effective. My presentation hasn't been effective.
Sure. And does that make you nervous when you get to the end?
Very. And then it kind of breaks down.
Disaster. You just throw out the kit sheet and then hide underneath the table and hope
there you go. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. What else? Don't be shy, guys. Angela, just close your ears because she's going to be like, mindset, right? So just close your ears. Come on, guys, tell me the truth. Go ahead, John.
Now that you can buy essential oils everywhere for cheap, I have a lot of people look at doTERRA or come to me because they know I do oils, which is cool. So in a way, they're acknowledging that I have expertise or some knowledge. But when they see the prices of doTERRA versus what they've been looking at, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so much more expensive. And then when I'm explaining, and it's kind of like I'm going backwards because I have people coming to me now specifically for essential oils without me approaching them first. And that's cool. But then because they've been looking at all the cheaper stuff, I have to explain to them why ours are different. And I feel like I'm walking a fine line between ours are different, they're higher end, they're better quality,
yep,
they're higher price, versus they can also be extremely affordable. So it's like I have to give them all that information, and that's really hard.
Yeah, and you're on defense, right? So does it kind of blah?
Yeah. Like my friend who just approached me, he's like, here's the kit I'm looking at getting, and he sent me a link to a $15 kit, 6 oils for $15 on Amazon. And he looked at my link and he goes, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. And I was like, well, there's a huge difference and you just got to understand that. And he's like, explain it to me. So he's open to it, but there's still that difference.
Yep. Cool. Thank you. We can probably take one or two more and then we can jump in.
I'll speak up.
All right, go for it.
I don't usually deal with so much money issues. And I think part of the reason for that is because as a single mom, I have always invested, even before I did doTERRA as a business and made money with it. So I don't assume I know people's, I've spent hundreds of dollars on supplements, on natural things, even though someone might look at me and think, oh, she can't afford it. So I try not to make assumptions about people's values with their money. But what I deal with is perhaps people not having enough touches or experiences. Because I work online and a lot of one-on-ones, I'll get people telling me that they're ready and then they're not enrolling.
Yeah.
Through a one-on-one or virtually. So they're ready, we've discussed all the options, what their needs are, and then there's some hesitancy, and I feel like they haven't had enough experiences with the oils.
Okay.
And that's after samples, that's after discussions, they do their own research, and then I'm ready for them to, and I feel that they're ready to, take that leap, and then there's still some hesitancy.
Sure.
If they're not understanding the value of what it is that they're receiving.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so why aren't they ready? What the heck?
Seriously? I feel like there's no deadline. There's no big push for them to sometimes to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I don't want to undervalue what I'm offering by offering too many freebies, and I want to stay within the realms of what we're allowed to do. I need a deadline. I need a sense of urgency, and I'm not feeling that.
Sure. All right, I got you. All right, I think that's a pretty good, is that pretty thorough, guys, what you run into? All right, cool.
I have one other one.
Yeah, go ahead.
My biggest one is maybe they might already have a lemon or a peppermint and their budget is only saying family physician or the home essential kit. And then they're saying, oh, well, I already have this oil and I already have this oil. I don't need oregano. I don't need this one. And so they're saying, well, I only need 1 or 2, but I want the membership. And that's our biggest, I think that's our biggest thing that we're running into is they already have a couple that they've brought maybe retail. And then they just say, well, I don't need all of those everything that comes with that kit. I don't know what to do with oregano.
Okay. They have one already. All right. Well, you know that people only need one bottle of lemon for their whole life, right?
Exactly.
All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for sharing those things with me. So let me go ahead and tell you about like where I come from, because I'm like, well, I guess not until last week I wasn't doTERRA famous. I guess now maybe I might be. Thanks a lot, Angela. Okay, so I bought my first doTERRA thingy last October. So I am not an active wellness advocate. I'm a customer. So my friend, our kids go to the same karate dojo, and she walked up to me super nervous and was like, will you come to my oil class? And I said, okay, only if you listen to my podcast. So I already thought I wanted to run my own sales training business. That's what my background is in. And I wanted to help female entrepreneurs who had no sales experience, who sold directly to customers, but I had no idea where to find them. So I just, which I'm sure you guys find funny. So I just had started a podcast. I was kind of tinkering around, and Catherine comes up to me. And so I said, yeah, sure. And, snarky response was, listen to my podcast and I'll come to your class. And so she listened to my podcast, binged like the 5 episodes that were there, and texted me and said, I want to hire you. And I was like, okay, well, I don't even know what this is like. I just threw out a number and she said, okay. So I went to her class and it was horrible. And I have her permission to say this, so don't worry. I buy her steak dinners as a thank you very often. It was so overwhelming, guys. And her enroller were super, super knowledgeable, and I was like, oh my gosh, fire hose. So I ended up leaving with a bottle of Serenity, some Deep Blue Rub, and a membership kit. And then Catherine hired me. And so I started meeting with her and teaching her, some sales training stuff. And Catherine was an accountant and a coder. So think like the most introverted person you could possibly imagine. And I started coaching her, and she went from making $50 a month for 2 straight years to making $450 that month. So then obviously her sponsor hired me. Then I thought it would be a really good idea with an estimated $400 a month in income to quit my corporate job and teach network marketers how to sell stuff. So what I grew up doing is I grew up selling Cutco knives. Who has Cutco knives? All right, cool. So I started between my junior and senior year of college, and then I was promoted. I did really, really well. So personally, I sold over 120,000. My office is like 1.5 million. And then I got a real job. And I did corporate recruiting as a recruiting manager. So I've been in sales training now since I was 20. So 6 years, right? Just kidding, 16 years. And so my background is in teaching 18-year-old kids how to sell $1,000 sets of knives to housewives when their husbands aren't home. So $150 family essentials kit is like, seriously, guys, it's not that hard. And so what I came into, I bought those couple things, and then she sent me home with a breathe stick, or she sent my daughter home with a breathe stick. She started coughing. We put it on, and then it went away. And one other thing that I think is relevant to this conversation is my dad's a physician and my in-laws are pharmacists. So I have meds on tap. And one thing that I noticed is that whatever, we would have used on Zoe that night didn't work as well as that. So 4 days later, I bought a family essentials kit. I ordered it. I did it before my wellness consult because I already got it, which meant I did it on a one-time order. So at this point, I've already spent over $250 in my first 5 days. I paid a wholesale membership account, and I bought a family essentials kit for full price with no LRP. What do you guys think about that? No good, right? So that's where I come from. I'm a student of sales and psychology and customer psychology, and I'm a customer. And so if you guys are taking notes, this is the philosophy from which I train, and then you can tell me if you buy this or not. Customer first. My team second. And me and my ego third. So customer first, team second, me and my ego third. Who likes that philosophy? All right, cool. So I just want you guys to remember, when I teach you guys stuff, I'm looking out for myself first, the customers. Okay, I'm not your upline, right? Trying to whatever, it's all from a customer perspective. And so this is why I think closing is important. So let me go ahead and give you my definition of closing. What do you guys think of when I say the word closing? Maggie, you're muted.
I think of it as starting the relationship with me and doTERRA and our team.
Okay, cool.
For me, it's just finalizing the transaction. Done.
Okay. No one else is is that high pressure?
It's the part that I actually am really, really bad at. And it's the end of my class. And if I don't get it right, then everything just goes to crap in a handbasket.
Yeah. So does it cause anxiety for you?
Just a little bit. There's a lot of balance.
Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and give you my definition of closing. My definition of closing is helping someone move forward on an action they already want to take. Help someone move forward on an action they already want to take. And your business will live or die on your closing skills, because closing is in everything that you do. Have you guys ever been able to get your kid to eat a vegetable? Guess what, guys? That's closing.
Yep.
Right? In your business, closing is not just this one thing that happens at the end of a class or end of a one-on-one. It's everywhere. When you're setting up appointments, you're having them actually do the thing, right? Actually set the appointment. That's closing. When you're enrolling someone, that's closing. When you're explaining and setting up someone's LRP, that's closing. When you are coaching one of your team members, have you ever had a team member that doesn't do what you ask them to do? Okay, that's closing, right? It's building value and creating action and moving people forward, right? When you're recruiting, you're selling an idea, guys. You're closing. You're not just throwing stuff out there. And so it's really important to understand that closing is something that you need to do, but it's not a bad thing. The next thing to write down is proactive versus reactive closing. And this is where I think a lot of the problems in the industry come from, is this concept of reactive closing. So reactive closing is like this. Follow up, follow up, follow up, sample, follow up, follow up, follow up, right? What are the closing trainings you've been on? How to follow up and close the sale, right? Follow up, follow up. Or have you guys heard overcoming objections? You heard that term, right? Oh, okay. So what do you do when the wife wants to talk to the husband? Then you say this, or then you break it down to 1 latte per day, or whatever, all that kind of garbage. Doesn't that feel weird when you think that through? It doesn't feel good. And so what I do is I work with people in proactive closing. Who has sold doTERRA for more than a day? Okay, so do we already know all the things that are going to come up at the end?
Pretty much.
What are they? What are the things?
I have to talk to my husband.
Okay, talk to my husband.
I can't afford it.
Okay, can't afford it.
I don't know if I need all those oils.
Do I need all of those? Good point. What else?
I'm too drunk to decide.
Yep.
Really?
You're classy with that one.
And we're going to start running into I'm too high to decide, or can I eat all the oils? That's happening here soon in California. What
I
else?
just need to think about it.
Think about it.
I have one, Tasha. They say I already used another company's oils.
Okay, so competition. Okay, what else?
Well, I'm getting my tax
What
rebate
about-
in 15 days. I'll wait until then.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait and buy. Cool.
I'm gonna have my dad buy this for me for Christmas.
Oh yeah. Dad buy. Oh, that's totally gonna work.
Or I'm just not ready.
Not ready. All right.
Or I'll just get them through you. You can order them and do all the work, and then I'll just pay you for them.
Okay.
I have a woman who wants to do the business, and every month there's some surprise bill that comes up that if you're $100 away from disaster, how would you like to never be in that position again? That's how I positioned it with her. Every month, every paycheck, it's the next paycheck. It's the next thing. Oh, I had to get tires, or I had to, life happens.
Yeah. Paycheck to paycheck. Perfect. I need to wait till my next paycheck. What's one that I have to research? No one has had that happen to them?
Yeah, I had my dentist tell me, okay, I'm going to research. Okay, you're a dentist. I guess I'll take that.
Okay. So here's the deal with proactive closing. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me every day for my entire career, shame on me. So what we're going to do is we're going to build in all of these concerns, and we're just going to handle them before they come up. And then we're not going to fight with people about it, right? Because isn't that what it turns into at the end, a fight? I wanted to get it later. Well, no, get it now because, oh my gosh, this is what might happen, right? And then you feel like you're backpedaling, and then don't you feel high pressure and pushy? So you either say nothing because you don't want to be that way, or you say the things and you're like, ooh, that did not go over well, and it doesn't work anyway. Reactive closing techniques are at an extremely high difficulty level. Okay, when you're looking at skill sets, it's really, really high. And so I've been selling for a long time, and I don't use reactive closing techniques because they're just that difficult. But the problem is that that's kind of what's being taught out there when you're thinking about closing. Tracy, go ahead. You want to say something? Or are you just playing with the raise hand feature? Okay. All right. How are we doing so far? Is this starting to make sense? Yeah? Good? All right. Cool. All right. So let's get into the stuff. First area that makes closing an enjoyable process for your customer. So go ahead and write this down. Set an appointment. Set an appointment. Why do you guys think this is important?
Because it's their time.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting them up that it's their special time, and so you're honoring their time and who they are by having a specific time. Plus, it hones it in to what you're going to accomplish.
Yep.
It's a mini commitment.
Sure.
Like a stepping stone to a greater commitment.
Yeah. Sure.
It makes it more official, more professional, I think. It's not just, let's meet up for coffee, and then it just turns into a bunch of chit chat,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm serious about this. I'm a business person. Let's set an appointment.
Yep.
Yeah. I want you to imagine if you were at a party and you ran into a lawyer, and let's say you needed a contract done. Maybe your business is thriving and you're going to hire a virtual assistant, so you need a contract. And you say, lawyer, oh my gosh, you're a lawyer. I need a contract done. Do you think the lawyer is going to tell you, just start talking about how amazing contracts are and all the different types of contracts?
Hope not.
What is that lawyer going to do?
Here's my card. Give me a call.
Yeah. hey, let's go ahead and set up a time where we can go over your whole situation, make sure we figure out a solution that makes sense for you, and then we can go from there. And who does that benefit the most?
Customer.
The client.
The client. Why?
Because they get their specific needs met.
Yeah. Right? We can talk about it in a way that's super helpful. And I think that, Jocelyn, earlier you mentioned you were having problems explaining stuff on the fly, right? A lot of it is because of the environment in which we entertain these conversations. Do you guys like going to your kid's soccer game and spending the whole game talking about oils?
Yeah.
Or do you want to watch the game? But do you ever feel pressure to do that?
Yeah.
Right? Do they want to talk to you about oils? Do they want to be ambushed? Do you guys want to be the crazy oil lady that they have to run away from when they see you coming with your little kit, with your little thing attached to your backpack? Right? So it's so important to set up an appointment because it serves your customer, it serves you, it sets you up as a professional. And you really, if our goal is to actually help people, stop it. Right? Who believes in the true life-changing properties of your product? Okay, then stop screwing up your customers, please. Can we agree that that's probably a good idea? Mm-hmm. All right. So let me go ahead and just write down a script for you. This is going to make it really, really easy. So let's just say it comes up in conversation. Share screen, whiteboard. All right. Okay, so it comes up in conversation. It's a party. It's a conversation with an old friend on Facebook. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. Usually what I do is set up time to meet. We will go over your situation, the company, and the most popular kits. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything. But if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Is that something you would be open to? And what do you think most people will say to that?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Because you're taking away the pressure of them thinking they're going to have to buy something.
Yeah. So it's important. This approach is crafted on purpose. So don't change the words, please. The first thing we have to think about from a customer perspective, what are they worried about? Okay. When a network marketer comes and talks to a customer, what are customers worried about? Can we just be real here for a sec?
Auto ship.
What else?
I think I get a lot of people not necessarily knowing if they can afford the product and not wanting to admit that they can't.
Sure. Yeah, so they're wondering, man, I'm going to have to buy something and I don't even know, so I'm worried about it.
I actually literally tried this particular technique because Angela had mentioned something about it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I'll make an appointment with this girl I'm talking to online. And she said, no, that she was looking up prices and she was sure she couldn't afford anything anyway.
Okay, great. So then you saved your time.
Right.
Well, here's another problem I'm hearing. It's not on my agenda, but I just have to address it. If you're waiting for people to contact you, you are waiting too long.
Oh, yeah.
You are waiting way too long. They're too deep in the process and they've already started their decision-making process with no influence and no help, and their dots are not connected. So I guess like hashtag Mean Coach says, stop waiting for people to come to you. It is way harder to sell to people who come to you than to people that you pursue.
Can you go into a little bit more depth what you mean by people who come to you versus who you pursue?
Yeah. So if I'm sitting around and people know that I'm
Yeah, we're still writing. Sorry.
Can you find that?
She's got it.
You got it? We're good? We're good? I just muted everyone. Okay. So there's this part of the sales funnel where there's like this awareness thing. And if you're the one that goes out and makes people aware of a solution, they're more loyal to you and they're more receptive to you. If you wait for people to come to you, you have now put yourself in a commodity position. So doTERRA is not a commodity, it's a value product. And the more you try to play it as a commodity, the more untrue you are to your product line and the worse you're gonna do. So a bunch of the concerns that came up at the beginning was, well, someone comes to me and they want this, right? You're already backpedaling because you're playing the commodity and the price game because they're too far through the process. When you outreach to people, right, and you say, hey, I just started this business or I'm relaunching my business and here's what I'm doing now. What I'm doing now is setting up appointments with people, right, to do this, this, and this. Is that something you're open to? And you're the first person they hear about it from, or at least in detail, then they're going to trust you more than if they're coming to you. You're just like, I don't know, an order taker. There's no true value there. And so, yeah, if you're waiting around, have you guys noticed that people that you go who never heard about essential oils might be easier to close than people that have done their research? And it's because they're too deep in the decision-making process. And now they're getting all wrapped up in stuff that doesn't matter and they're not able to connect the dots. So what you have to do is, if they've been researching, right, and they're already starting to look up prices, I mean, that's a very high level of difficulty. So, yeah, I guess that's my little rant on pursuing people. That's why you have a professional obligation to pursue people, but only if you believe in the life-changing properties of your product, right? If you believe in the life-changing properties of your product, then you have a professional obligation to pursue. Robin, I noticed you raised your hand. Did you want to share something?
Yeah, so because that was some of the things that come up for me, is that they're already with another company, but I know the value that our company holds. So are you saying pursuing someone versus waiting for someone to come to you? Are you, when they're already in that process in deep, do you just give up on them? Do you have a different approach? Do you like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't know if that's really within the scope of this training, but I'll briefly address like what I consider market saturation. So here's a concept to write down. It's called the 20-60-20 rule. And so this means 20% of people will buy no matter what. Okay? Mom, I'm selling something. Okay, sweetheart, which is awesome if that's your situation, because my mom has literally never bought one thing from me in my entire life. Not even the wrapping paper or the world's finest chocolates. She's the worst. She's really disappointed that I'm a salesperson, by the way. So there's a 20% of people that will just buy, right? You put a post up, I'm selling essential oils. That person that messages you, they would have bought anyways. It wasn't because you did something right? Like we could take my baby turtles in an order form and walk them over there and they would order a kit, okay? That's the 20% that'll buy no matter what. Then there's the 20% of people that won't buy no matter what. And then there's the 60% of people in the middle, and that is up to you. So, Robin, I'm not really sure. They might be in the 20% that won't buy no matter what, or they might be in the 60% that's up to you. But it takes way more time to backtrack on that stuff versus just asking one of your customers for referrals and calling those people.
Oh.
So I think that we spend so much energy on the people, like these little bits of people, right, versus looking at, okay, I want to make sure that I like let people know about it. And so when I think about market, who's heard that the doTERRA market is saturated? Okay, and the rest of you are lying. Okay, so the hippie market is totally saturated. Okay, so the people who are looking for natural solutions, who have this core value in their family of doing everything naturally, that market, guys, if you're looking for those people, I don't know what to tell you, right? Aren't they already in? But guess who's not in? The people like me, right? And so part of the thing, Robin, with that situation is that person is already kind of in this different subset of the target market, where the target market, I mean, it's people that breathe, right? Realistically, your target market is between the ages of 30 and 60, have jobs and own homes, right? If I'm going to go ahead and take it up a notch, because if they're still renting a home, they're probably saving for a house, your odds go down, right? They have different financial priorities. So when you look at the target market age, now, will you have people outside of that that buy? Of course you will, right? But from a business perspective, you want to be wise with your time. So 30 to 60 homeowners, jobs. There's so many people out there that have no clue, right? So that's part of the problem is if you're waiting for people, you're waiting for people that are already like in that section of people that are already in, right? And so that's why you have a professional obligation to pursue people, right? Like you are here with me right now because of a professional obligation to pursue people who don't know they need to know how to sell. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, cool. So now we're for sure going over. So hopefully you guys are good. I'm not sorry. It's cool for me. But I just want you guys to be aware. Okay, so tip 1, set up the appointment. Angela did her rant on sampling. So I'm just not going to spend time on it. I feel like she's equipped. We're on the same page with that. We didn't even know it. It doesn't actually help you make sales. At best, you'll sell the one oil. So all those problems that you have because of the one oil is because of sampling that you guys mentioned earlier. So just set up the appointment. If someone responds to that approach and says, no, I'm not open to that, then good, right? Don't you guys hate people who just never respond? Okay, part of that is your fault. You're not giving them an opportunity to politely decline. So do not sell without consent. And that's what that approach does. It says, hey, here's what we're going to go over. They're worried about how long is it going to take? Are you going to keep me there forever? Are you going to follow up 1,000 times? Because isn't that their experience with network marketers? Here's a sample. Maybe even someone else for doTERRA. Here's a sample. I'm going to call you till you buy. Right? And so why would they want to meet with you? So if you just let them know, hey, you don't have to buy anything, but you see something you like, of course I'll help you order it. They'll go, oh, okay, cool. You are an actually nice person. Go ahead.
I didn't hear Angela's rant on sampling. Can you summarize that for those of us who weren't a part of that?
Yes, of course.
What the consensus is about sampling now?
Yeah, so from a technical sales perspective, sampling is risky business. Okay, so this has nothing to do with Angela's thoughts. This is like my rant for the past year. So here are the options when you sample. First option, worst case scenario, they take it and they go, okay, thanks, and they never use it. Okay. Second, they use it, but if I have a cold and you give me a sample and I'm not in the hippie market, am I going to not take my Dayquil? Or am I going to take your Breathe and my Dayquil?
Cool. Let's
be honest. Okay, so then when you come back, how'd it work? What am I going to respond with? I mean, I guess, but I don't know which one it was. Yeah. Now, the best case scenario is they use the Breathe and it works. And then what do they respond with?
I want a bottle of that.
Yeah, I want a bottle of that. How much is it? And then what do you say? Well, it depends. I mean, if you want to buy it wholesale or if you want to buy it retail. And then it's $35. So now we're talking about $67 for a bottle of Breathe.
Right.
Have you lost your mind?
Right. I have done much better with people I have never sampled. So
yeah, because
I'm hearing this right now.
It's not a legit. Sorry, doTERRA. It's not a legitimate sales strategy in most. Like when it comes to sales psychology, you are teaching your customers to put their toe in the water. You're teaching them to be wimpy. You're teaching them. You're saying, let's try it and see. Like, have some conviction in your product, people, right? And if you're a try it and see kind of person, I'm skeptical from the beginning because you're skeptical, right? If you don't have enough conviction to say this stuff works, right? Like, I mean, I mentioned, my dad's a doctor. He doesn't say, try this and see. He's like, no, this is going to help, right? And I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the small version on sampling. I could probably go rage on and on and on.
I have no problem never sampling again. Sounds good.
Yeah, there are instances where sampling is appropriate, right? Return customers that are already customers, right? We don't want to address a specific need, right? But everybody needs a home essentials kit or a family essentials kit. That's just like a thing. So if you sample, you're actually hurting me because I'm not going to buy your $67 of Breathe. I'm going to be really irritated with you. And then maybe when I'm sick, I'm going to come back for more. But I don't understand. I don't get it. Right?
Do you have a script for when people ask for a sample? So that you're not being rude and saying, no, you can't.
Why would they ever ask you for a sample?
Make an appointment.
How would they even know you
samples all forever and ever? Like I have people who have been sample and just want samples.
That's because you allowed
So do you even want to work with them?
No.
Yeah, so if you've been sampling, you say, you know what, I actually don't do sampling anymore. Or you can say, yes, I will give you a sample. Usually what I do is blah, 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 blah. So as long as we have an appointment set, I'd be glad to give you a sample, right? Make it contingent. I'm not against the oil experience. I just think it's overrated. If you can understand how to connect the dots. So let's go ahead and go into like that actual sales presentation because we could talk about appointment setting all day. But then I won't have time to sell you my program. So we want to make sure we have time for that. Okay. So, yeah, don't sell on the fly. Stop it. Okay, number 2, this is when you get into the one-on-one or into the class. Give an agenda so there are no surprises. This is important because you want to make sure that people feel comfortable. They don't want to get caught off guard. And so earlier I told you, like, you give the agenda in the appointment setting approach. Like, here's what we're going to cover. So at the beginning of your appointment, you're just going to do the same thing, right? Here's what we're going to go. It's going to be exactly word for word. That gives consistency, and that shows them that you were real when you first set the appointment. You're not pulling a switcheroo on them. So let me just go ahead and remind you what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over your situation. We're going to cover the company, the most popular kits. My part will take about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course I'll help you order it. And that's it, right? And so how does that make a customer feel? They just relaxed.
Relaxed.
Right? Also, the you don't have to buy anything part, they're like, oh, watch me, I'll show you, I'll buy something. But then the other part's really important, so don't mess that up. You have to let them know, if you see something you like, of course I'll help you order it today. And then you go like this, and then they go, okay, great. And mentally, now they're making a list. Okay, you've just given them permission to make a list of things that they like. Okay, good? Okay, so that's the number 2 tip. So the first tip, set an appointment. Second, give an agenda. Third tip, gain input. Nobody cares about your story. Whose story do they care about? Theirs, right? I mean, like, they might care about your story, like, just on an anecdotal note, but do they care about your story like $300 care about your story? No. They care about their story. So that is the number one thing to start with. Okay, is their story. So here are the 3 questions that you want to ask, right? So today we're going to go over your health goals, talk about how to use essential oils and the most popular packages. My part will take about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it today. What else do you want to make sure we go over today? And Kristen's putting these in the chat. What else do you want to make sure we go over today? I don't want to bore you, so then you make a list. I don't want to bore you with information that you don't care about. So tell me about your health goals, or tell me about your issues. Like, what are some things that you would love to be able, some health issues that you would love to be able to solve? And then the third question, and then what else? And then the third question is, what do you already know about doTERRA? All right, so Angela, will you roll with me for a moment?
Yes.
P.S. Your health goals are asthma and sleep and your husband has dry skin, because those are the only ones I know how to handle.
Okay. Asthma, sleep, dry skin. Okay.
I'm the sales trainer, not the doTERRA expert. Okay, Angela, today we're going to go over your health goals, talk about how to use essential oils in the most popular packages. My part will take about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it today. Now, what else do you want to make sure we go over?
Well, like I told you, I need to know a little bit more about asthma. In our house, we deal with that. And sleep is my biggest issue. I don't sleep. And if we have time, I'd love to know how I can help my husband with his dry skin issues. Don't tell him that.
Okay. So it looks like you already beat me to my next question, because I was just about to ask you, tell you I didn't want to bore you with stuff you don't care about. So tell me about your health goals. So I wrote down asthma, sleep, dry skin. What else?
I think those are our top main concerns, really.
Give me another one. You're way too easy.
Oh, and I need to lose weight today.
Okay, fair. What else?
Honestly, just keeping my home more calm. It's chaos. It's high-strung children right now, literally yelling through my door.
How many kids do you have?
I have 6. 6.
Okay, cool. What else?
Oh, goodness. Maybe help with itchy scalp. We talked, my husband has dry skin, but itchy scalp, not having to constantly grab the expensive medicated shampoos. That would be great.
Okay, great. What else?
Let's see. I honestly don't know. I don't think we have anything else. Just things that maybe would come up, things that come up that I'm not prepared for, or I didn't know I needed, I guess. That's a weird answer, but there you go.
Okay, fair. So here's what I wrote down: asthma, sleep, dry skin, lose weight, calm, itchy scalp, and just life with 6 kids.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
That's about right.
Okay, great. Now, Angela, what do you already know about doTERRA?
Just a little bit from a lot of crazy friends who constantly post their kits online.
Okay, so not much.
Not much.
Okay, so time out. So how did you feel? How did you feel when I did that?
I felt you needed to get to my needs, like to the point, like, Angela, tell me more. It's you. I want to know what you need. Give me more, give me more, give me more. It was never I felt like that you were totally invested in me.
And why is that important?
Because I'm important.
Right. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So did you guys notice I didn't say anything like, asthma? Okay, I totally have something that'll be great for you on that. Why didn't I do that?
Because it breaks the flow of the communication.
Yeah. All I want to do is love on Angela. That's it. When was the last time you guys were listened to? Like truly listened to? Have you ever, even with your spouse, have they ever even said, oh, really? Tell me more.
Yes.
Maybe if your husband's a life coach, but other than that.
Your husband's my husband.
Right? Like that just doesn't happen. And so there's this great Zig Ziglar quote says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this isn't a fake thing, right? This is like a legitimate, this is how I care about you. This is how I love on you. Tell me everything. Now, if they only have one or two issues, that's cool. No big deal. Right? It's really all about them. If they say they're generally pretty healthy, you can say, okay, no problem. Now, a lot of people also like doTERRA for XYZ reason, and they'll go, oh yeah, totally. I mean, one of the reasons they say they're pretty healthy is actually because of your story. So if you have a story that's like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about my story. And let me tell you, and I don't mean to make light of anybody's health concerns here, but here's an example of one that I've heard. The reason you start your conversation with, the reason I love doTERRA is because I had fibromyalgia and I did this and this and this. And it cured it or whatever. I mean, I know you wouldn't say it, but whatever, right? Whatever your compliant-ish verbiage is. And then you say, tell me about your health concerns. They are contexting against your health concerns. And so that's why they're saying, well, I mean, I'm pretty healthy, right? They're comparing it to your stuff, or they're comparing it to other stories. If you start with your health concern, like, let's just talk about your stuff. They're not going to feel belittled, right? Like Angela said, itchy scalp. Now, most people wouldn't consider that a true health concern. It's just life, right? If I started with, Angela, I love doTERRA because of my asthma and because of my husband's stuff and because my 4-year-old is totally crazy and lays on the ground and screams for hours at a time. And I say, tell me about your health concerns. She'd be like, dude, I got nothing on you. Right? So that's part of the reason they're doing that, which is why I think telling your story is really, it does more harm than good. It also creates skepticism. Like, really? No way.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a question. What if you have someone who's actually like a health coach and they're specializing in a certain field? Like I have someone on my team who has fibro and she doesn't have a miraculous cure story, at least not yet. She's still dealing with it, but she specializes in helping other people with fibro. Is that okay? Is that considered more like a niche that she's reaching out to those people, or should she still?
I think that's more niche and is kind of out of the scope of our particular conversation.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so that's tip 3, gain input. That third question, what do you already know about doTERRA? Have you guys ever tried to talk about doTERRA and had someone's eyes glaze over? Okay, so when I asked, Angela, when I asked you, what do you already know about doTERRA, did you notice her physically drawing in? Did anybody see that? Okay, so she was sitting back like this, answering the questions, and I said, well, what do you already know about doTERRA? And she went like this. I mean, not that much. Right? Because when they realize they don't know anything about doTERRA, they're like, oh, I don't really know that much. I just know this, tell me. And now you're able to share with them a little bit about doTERRA. I'm not going to go into the customer-centric company story today. That one you're going to have to pay for. but then you can talk about the company, right? So the next thing you do is talk about the oil, like how to use them, right? And then the fourth key, so we've done number 1, set an appointment. Number 2, give an agenda. Number 3, gain input. Number 4, we're going to personalize the features and benefits of the Home Essentials Kit. So 4 is personalize the features of the Home Essentials Kit. And specifically, we're gonna say, use this format. Earlier you mentioned blah, blah, blah. This is the one you're gonna use for that. Okay, so watch this. Okay, so we go through agenda, input, doTERRA, what's in essential oils, breeze through that. All right, Angela, so now let me go ahead and show you our 2 most popular kits. I can't even see Angela's face. Let me find it. Okay. Okay, so the first oil in your kit is lemon. Earlier you mentioned that you had asthma. Do you know when you get like all that mucus in your throat and it just makes it like you're worried it's going to drain into your lungs?
Yes.
Okay, so just put a drop of this in your tea and that's going to help with that, okay?
Okay.
Now you also mentioned you have 6 kids. Do they ever put stickers on your furniture?
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
Okay, so you can use this to get those off.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. The next oil in your kit is lavender. Earlier you mentioned that you want to be able to sleep better, so this is one that's really great for calming. So you can put this on your feet right before you go to bed, or you can diffuse it and it's going to kind of bring that down. You also mentioned that your husband had itchy skin. You can put this on, that's going to really help with the itchiness.
Okay.
Okay. You also, do your kids ever get like cuts?
Yes, all the time.
Okay. You can combo this with Melaleuca and it'll help that. Okay. Good. All right. Awesome. Now the next oil in your kit is peppermint. Earlier you mentioned that you wanted to lose weight. Do you have like a resolve every night before you go to bed to wake up in the morning and work out?
Yes.
Okay. And then the alarm goes off and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so groggy. Forget this, right? Yeah. So all you do, the alarm goes off, put a little peppermint on your hand, take 3 whiffs. It's going to wake you up, open your airways, and give you that energy to get out of bed and actually get on the darn elliptical.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. Do you see how that one would help you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. How long did that take, guys?
Just a few minutes.
Okay, now do you think Angela wants these?
Yes, they solve her problem.
Right. Now, did I need to tell my story?
No.
Nope.
Why not?
Because it's all about Angela.
Totally about Angela. And so what I'm looking for is her head nod. Right? As soon as I see the head nod, then I know she's in and I can move on to the next.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I have one like, come on, internet. I don't know. Let's pretend there's a digestion slide. Okay. And I said, okay, so DigestZen, it might not be one you use every day, but have you ever gone to like a Super Bowl party and eaten half a pizza? Yeah. Okay. So this is the one you're going to use for that. It's going to help with your tummy ache.
Okay.
All right. So if your kids ever get a tummy ache and you don't really know what to do, this is good for that too. So if I know it's something that they're not going to use every day, I'm just going to call it out and tell them the truth. This may not be one you use every day, but you're going to be glad you have it when. Is that a true story? Will they be glad they have it?
Yes.
So just let them know how they will use it in the future. So yeah, I mean, my story is not really relevant here. If you really feel compelled to tell a story, tell someone else's story, not yours. You have no credibility, or very little. Why don't you have credibility for your story?
Because I benefit from the sale.
That's right. Okay, cool. How are we doing so far?
Awesome.
That's tip 4. Okay.
There's a couple of questions, Tasha. Did you want me to read them out now?
If you think that they will.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do with what so one is like, what if you don't know the answers? Do you open a Modern Essentials or Essential Life book to find the answers?
Yes. That's the short answer is yes.
Okay. And then
I can get you guys a copy of the slide, which just gives you a basic thing, right? Okay. What else, Kristen?
And then if their main concern is really something that we believe is not in the kit, what we do.
What's an example?
Well, their example is something that needs support with hormone balance, and that's their main concern. And I imagine they're thinking of Balance or Claritin or Claricalm, yeah.
Or for example, someone who's diabetic, they need some other things like cinnamon and
Yeah, so I mean, what I would do is I would go through the basic kit presentation and say, if you have, right, you're going to get all those goals and say, okay, so I'm going to go over the 2 most popular kits. This is going to be your foundation. There are a couple things that we might want to consider adding to this so that you're kind of covered, right? Because now, if they have diabetes, does that mean they're not going to get the flu?
Exactly.
Or does that mean that their kids aren't going to put stickers on? Right? Like, we need to remember that they're a whole person. They're not just that. And so what I would recommend is to still always go through the top 10 because they need those things, right? Remember, this is me as a customer telling you this. And then you can, after that, you can kind of go over a couple, like, here are the specific ones for, this specific issue. And I would probably start with, offering them an opportunity to buy all of it, and then you can just kind of drop down into their whatever's comfortable for them. Angela, go ahead.
Tasha, and I'm just going to throw this out there. You said this to me in conversation. I don't know if you remember. You just said, stop trying to cure them and just give them and care about them. Stop trying to cure them. You're not going to cure them in that one instant. Just care about them and give them what it is is going to benefit them the most. And I love that.
Yeah. I mean, just think big picture, guys. Right? So if let's say I'm like super hormonal that time of month and you're thinking Claricon would be really helpful. Do you think that maybe my husband might need some lavender during that time? Right? So like, you guys got to get out of this order taking mentality. It doesn't serve the customer. Right? If I already know what I need, you're not doing a lot, right? So if it's just hormone balance and you're thinking Claricom, show them the kit and then add the Claricom. Jennifer said, is that not supporting them, right? It is. It's supporting their whole person, not just their one thing. We are not defined by one health issue. Do I recommend hosting a one-on-one appointment through Zoom and sharing a similar PowerPoint presentation? Yes, I do. This is one that I ripped off from Missy and then Tasha-fied, so I can give you guys the link. Do I come back with an iTovi scan? Do you guys iTovi scan people on the first appointment? No. If you do, stop it. I think an iTovi scan is fine in the wellness consult. In fact, I think it's pretty helpful. But it doesn't address future needs, which is, I think, a real downfall of scanning. It only measures current needs, right? So one of the big things that like blew me away as a customer, and this has nothing, when I showed up and if she would ask me about my needs, I'm like, I'm stressed out because of my job and I commute a lot, so my shoulders hurt. I wasn't thinking about my kid getting the flu. I didn't even think that problem could be solved. Remember, my dad's a doctor. It's not a problem that's solvable. You just write it out. And my daughter, Zoe, she got the flu and she was 5 at the time, and we did the oregano melaleuca on guard thing every hour, and she was on her scooter in 5 hours from her first puke. Now, would a scan in my wellness consult would that have told me anything about that?
No.
So I think scanning is helpful, when you're dealing with a quick hit, right? Like an issue that is present right then and there. But, I just encourage you to think about your customer's future, because if I'm educated about the product, but I don't own it, it doesn't help me in the middle of the night. Like, it does me no good. At the time you iTovi scan me, it's too late, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Is there anything, other questions about what I covered? Kristen, was there anything else? Nope. Good. All right, cool. Now I'm going to get to the end. This is tip 5, simplify 2 kits, please. Okay. So Angela, now, if I've gone through, a couple of you guys mentioned that you were anxious at the end. If Angela's nodding her head the entire time, are you anxious anymore?
Nope.
Okay. Now it's just a very easy question, Angela. Small or big bottles? Okay? So, yeah, whichever fits best in your budget. So let me show you our 2 most popular kits. The Home Essentials kit comes with the 10 oils I covered earlier, bigger bottles, about 250 servings per bottle, and it comes with the diffuser. It's $275. Or you can get the Family Physicians kit. It's now called the Family Essentials. It's $150. Comes with smaller bottles, right? About 70 to 80 drops per bottle. If you were considering one of these, Angela, which would you prefer?
I have 6 kids, so I need more oil.
Bigger one? Okay. Okay, great. Now let me tell you about my first appointment special. And this is where I will give you something for free if you place an order on our first appointment for a kit. Now you mentioned like sleep and then maybe your asthma, right? So what I can do is I can either give you some lavender to get you through till your kit comes, or I can give you some Breathe. Which would you prefer? And I can give that to you today if you order a kit today. Which would you prefer, sleep or air?
Air.
Okay. So Angela, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. Would you like to get this Home Essentials kit and get some free Breathe today? Would you like to get that today? No, I can't afford it.
Yes.
No, you can't afford it.
No, I can't afford it. My husband doesn't have a job, but I want it.
Okay, no problem. So what I would recommend, Angela, is to start with the Family Essentials kit. It comes with all 10 oils, and what's really, really cool is that whatever you use the most, you can just order next month. Okay, so it's no big deal. And the nice thing is it's only $150, and I will still give you that some Breathe to take home today. Does that work better for you?
What do you want me to say? Yes. Yeah. I'm still a little worried about.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So here's what I would recommend. The most popular oils are lemon, lavender, and peppermint. I can give you small bottles of that. It's like $30. That'll get you started, and then you'll be able to go ahead and save up for one of these kits. Does that work better for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great start.
Okay, cool. And then that way your husband won't freak out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, 2 options. No more enrollment kit flyers. How do you think customers feel when they look at that flyer? Have you ever looked at their eyes when you show them the flyer?
That they're being sold to.
It's like, holy cow, what is this? Right? So, yeah, just make it easy for them. I don't know. Those are the 5 tips. So we just have some more questions. Natural solutions found. Yeah, I just sell them. Oh, Kirsten, good point. So I just sell them a retail kit, but it's a kit. You guys, why did I sell them a kit instead of one oil?
To keep them out of the habit of buying one oil.
Well, yeah. And it's more versatile, isn't it? Lemon, lavender, and peppermint. And why didn't I talk about retail and wholesale?
Fusing.
Yeah. And how do you think I'm going to feel about my oils that are $30 and my enrollment kit fee that's $35?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be very happy with you. Right? So I think just simplify it. Now, should you still do a wellness consult with that person? Or should you just treat them like crap because they bought retail?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like an actual customer? Yeah. So do a wellness consult with them. And what do you think you're going to talk to them about there?
Membership.
Yeah, a timeline to order their kit. Now, if they already have those 3 oils and they're using them on a daily basis, do you think they're more likely to save up for that kit?
Yes.
Because do people actually save up until next payday?
No.
No, they don't. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me every day for my 6-year career, shame on me. So give them an option that they're comfortable with. Earlier, some of you guys mentioned that you were, cognizant of, their budget, right? So I just think it's important to start off, like, just have an option that's super affordable for everybody, right? If the $30 still isn't affordable for them, they're not in your target market. If you're running into a lot of people that can't even afford that, now part of it is the value conversation, right? So if I'm linking it back to her needs and she's nodding her heads, you're going to get way less objections at the end because they're going to understand it. The dots are going to be connected. If you're getting a lot of people that still can't even buy that $30 kit, you need to look at whether or not you're seeing people 30 to 60 with jobs that own homes.
I will say, just to say this, when I enrolled, I didn't have a job. We had just moved. We had $0 in our bank account, and we rented our home. But Laura still treated me with, she knew what I needed. My daughter couldn't breathe. And because the value of what she said was so high, I bought it.
Yeah.
And Tasha talks about value. Everything she said in my appointment, there was so much value that I had to get the kit. She didn't say anything about her story. She didn't go over all the blah, blah, blah. This is this and essential and Swiss Army knife and all that bull crap. She got to the point. This is going to stop that. This is going to fix this. This is going to give you sleep. Do you want sleep or air? And I'm thinking, give me this now. That's the point. Everybody's worried about the single oil because you're not giving them what they need. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's commodity selling, right? Hi, Kristen, I would like some lemon. Okay, here's how much it is. You're not going to build a business that way. And so providing value is providing the education and making it simple for people. And you're not going to make sales to every single person, right? Like I shoot for 80%. I think that sounds about right. You're going to have people that are in your target market who don't buy. You're going to have people like Angela who are outside your target market that do, right? Thank goodness, right, that there was no prejudging there. Your job is to give all the options unemotionally. And so you don't want to decide for people ahead of time what they can and can't afford. And so what's really important is actually to not personalize things so much. The closing process is not personalized. This kit or this kit, free thing or this free thing, would you like to get it? And you're totally disconnected. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, would you like to get it? They say no, no matter what reason they say no. You say, okay, no problem. Let me just show you the next option just so you're aware. Okay, I do this for everybody. They say, well, I really, really want that Home Essentials, absolutely 100%. Okay, well, I just show everybody all the options because I don't want to make any assumptions. And then they go, okay. And then they might find something that feels good to them.